Welcome to Grant's Rock Warehouse, and tonight we are live and we are talking Atomic Playboys. This is part of our One and Done series. We have a panel here. We want to hear from you in the chat, so let's get started. This might be pretty good.
Grant is changing the world one track at a time on Grant's Rock Warehouse.
Damn, and we are live, and it's a Monday. Look at this panel. We might have yet another person joining us, but we will see. He's kind of busy, but he might be here. Look who's here, though. We've got Webb back in the saddle. Yes. We've got DC. We've got Mr. BM Bolt. Tonight, we are going to talk a little Stevie Stevens. We're going to talk Atomic Playboys. This album, for those who don't know it, you can look at this as the first Stevie Stevens solo album, but this was actually a band. This is the only album that they really put out, and then Stevie went solo. But look, the album cover says Stevie Stevens Atomic Playboys. Yeah, whatever. You got to market it somehow. This record really didn't do a whole lot. I think it got up to what? 160. What, in 119? Mm-hmm. It didn't do anything. So if anybody knows who Stevie Stevens is, he's a guitar wizard, plays with Billy Idol, Rebel Yell, White Wedding, Eyes Without a Face. It's that Stevie Stevens. So this was in between when he was, I don't think he was playing with Billy. I think Billy was putting out, what was that one record? Cyberpunk? Yeah. Stevie wasn't around for Cyberpunk.
Not in his wheelhouse.
Not in his wheelhouse. But we all know who Stevie is. Everyone here should know. Now, if you know how this program works, we're all going to go around, give our brief synopsis of the record. Do we like it? Do we dislike it? We're either trying to turn you on to it or we're trying to turn you off to it. Is it worth?
We're trying to guide you.
Exactly. Is this a record worth seeking out? Now, everybody in the chat, we have 24 people here already. I appreciate everybody here so far. If you know this record, when it is time, I will want your rating out of 10. You know how this works. Come on, people. So Davey Cretin should be here. He's working on another program right now. So he may fly in here.
There he is.
He just flew in.
And he just flew in. Let me fix this shot.
And boy, are his arms tired.
DC, you beat me.
I think that'll work.
Hello,
so
everyone.
Anyway, Davey, in case you don't know how this works, welcome, Mr. Cretin. The One and Done series, we all go around, give a brief synopsis, and then we also and we'll want your brief review, Davey, and a score out of 10. Same with everybody else. You don't have to be too wordy, and we are going to go to everyone in the comment section and get their opinion if they know this record. So anyway, Davey, nice to see you. I appreciate you coming on. He has not been on a One and Done, and Webb has not been on a One and Done either. So I want to welcome both these gentlemen. So
I was on a One and Done, a couple actually.
Oh well, shit, I can't keep track.
Ben Orr and
okay, well, Webb has not been on a One and Done. Okay. Webb, welcome to the show. Davey, I'm not worried about you then.
I'm a One and Done virgin.
He's a One and Done virgin. Mm-hmm. So anyway, this we're talking Atomic Playboys. All right, so I think what I'm going to do, since I'm going to go Byron, DC. What? Why do you laugh?
Okay, you're going Webb first. That's fine. Whatever.
Well, Webb, do you want to go first?
I'll gladly go first. I will gladly do it.
All right, Byron.
Would have been the leadoff spot.
Yeah.
All right, throwing right through the walls. All right, Webb.
Davey's batting cleanup.
And if you get too wordy, I'll get you moving. All right, so we'll go Webb, Byron, DC, and Davey, and then myself, and we're going to keep moving. We'll do this in an hour. Thank you, everybody. First of all, before we get started, let's see who's in the comments section.
Grant, I'll draw your attention to Harv, who says, I give it a 2 by looking at the cover. We were discussing that before we went on air.
Yeah, the cover really does
Geiger.
I know it's that artist Geiger that did all
Alien. Very similar to that. I don't know if it was him though, but very similar.
It is him.
No, it is.
It is.
Well, that's good. At least it wasn't somebody aping his style and more or less stealing it.
Oh yeah, happy St. Patty's Day. And look, here we are, people with no lives.
And Eran Gobrales.
So yeah, it is Geiger, but I don't think that this album cover does any.
It's not one of his better pieces.
It doesn't. When I go through the record score and I'm going through the bins and I see that, it doesn't make me want to buy it.
It slightly creeps me out because the guitar fretting is on the wrong hand. It's coming from underneath.
All right, Harv, keep hold of that because you may raise your rating by the time we get over this.
Yeah, he may.
All right. Webb, you're up. Let's hear it from you. What's your brief review and your rating out of 10?
Okay, well, just very brief background. 1989, right, when this was released. I think that Steve had done he had done part of the Top Gun soundtrack. He did the theme song for that and was like all.
It got I think it got a Grammy or something for it.
So he's like, wow. Okay, so leading into, and that was a couple years for that. So leading into this, I was going to say on the record, Thommy Price playing drums. I like him. He was the guy that played on Rebel Yell and all that stuff. And, you know, he's got a distinct sound. Anton Fig plays on 2 songs. Kasim Sultan from Utopia plays on track 1 on bass for all the Utopia fans.
Yeah.
And I don't know who Perry McCarty is. I think someone tell me I know he was probably in other bands, but
I think it's Andrew McCarthy's brother. McCarty?
McCarty.
Oh, McCarty.
Jim McCarty.
Oh, Yardbirds reference.
Yeah, Jim McCarty. Yeah. Okay, so let's get into it. The title song. I mean, it comes out with a bang. I like the speech. You know, the speech intro from. I wrote it down. William Blandy, who answered, "I am not an atomic playboy." Yes. And so, you know, that's pretty cool. And then it kicks in. It's got the Rebel Yell tempo and feel. You know, I'm like, okay. And the vocals come in. It gives me like Billy could be singing this totally. And, you know, I watched the video. You know, it's exactly what you think it would be. It's exactly what you think it would be. You know, and Steve is playing the solo. By the way, it's a kick-ass solo. It's Steve Stevens. You know, what do you expect? It's exactly what you expect, and it's good. And he's rolling around on his back. He's on his back doing the solos and stuff. Yeah, you know. But hell of a way to start an album. I was like, yeah, this is good. This is really good. A blistering, sizzling solo. There you go. And then we get to track 2, Power of Suggestion, and I wrote, ouch. Well, okay. I'm trying to be a little funny here. It sounds like the song you hear by a band in a bar scene in a Roadhouse or like Another 48 Hours, maybe. It sounded like it was supposed to be a single, and then I found out that it was on Ace Ventura: Pet Detective. It was on the soundtrack. I know. Yeah, there you go. See, I wrote, almost couldn't finish the song. So,
damn.
Oh, we're going to have some interesting conversation here tonight.
Well, hey, you know, why not be honest? I mean, you know?
Well, this is the thing. We want to be honest, because if we're trying to turn people on to stuff, then we need to be honest. And it's worth something to go out and check out.
Yeah.
So.
I don't mind saying when something's not that good to my ears. Okay, but this album's a roller coaster. Track 3, come on, sweet. Action is. I was very impressed with this cover. I mean, wow. And I think that McCarty does a great Brian Con. I mean, I felt like the band might've been formed off of this cover. Like they got together and played this cover somewhere. And then they're like, this is smoking. And hey, let's do an album. I don't know. I just kind of got that vibe when I heard it. And I love there's a little extended jam at the end. They do he does a little solo at the end for an extra 30 seconds or so because the song's so damn good. Why end it? Just keep going. Let's make it our own. Mm-hmm. And the band sounds like they really love playing it. You just get that vibe. So that's up. Desperate Heart. I don't know. Desperate Heart. There's one Bo Hill who produced it, I think, and it even mentioned Ted Templeton. Fiona was a co-writer for this. She had 3 albums. I had to look her up. I'm sorry. I heard the name. I looked her up. Yeah. You know, she was, popular.
Wasn't Fiona Bo Hill's girlfriend or something?
Well, it sounds like he said, "Here's the song that I want to write with you, babe." And this is
goodness,
Desperate Heart. And he brought in Anton Fig for this. I guess he was like, "Tommy can't play the drums on this." I don't know, because it was going to be a hit. And he's got to bring in the super stud drummer. I don't know. It's okay. It's the ballad. You know, he had to have one. There's some pretty cool backup vocals by Fiona. All right, that's all I got to say about that song. Let's go on to Soul on Ice. I felt like this. I'm maybe it was because I did the Sweet Show a few days ago. I'm feeling like Set Me Free energy on this. You know, it's like fast. Sounded good. I love the breakdown in the middle with the bass and really good kick drum action from Thommy. It's like, I have to do the drum stuff, guys. I'm sorry. The solo, okay, this solo, I wrote, is there 300 notes in 45 seconds? I mean, this is, he is so fast. My God. And
is it Vinnie Vincent fast?
It's not quite that fast, but it's almost that fast. Yeah. That's perfect that you said that.
BM Bolt loves that shit.
Scale.
He loves that stuff.
I'm not saying I don't love it. I'm saying I was like, damn. I mean, wow, Steve, bring it.
Hey, that's what he does.
I know. He's Steve being Steve. That's what he's doing. Exactly. I mean, it's his band. Cool song. So I like that. Crackdown. Yeah, pretty good. Vocal delivery reminds me of Billy Idol again. I kind of thought I heard like maybe a little Ian Astbury. Asbury. Did I say that right? Asbury.
Asbury, yeah.
Yeah, close enough. Yeah. This album, okay, I got to be brutally honest again. This album, 89, late 80s hair metal pop, it's kind of brittle to my ears. Maybe I'm getting old. Maybe I play too many gigs, too many monitors in my left ear. I mean, that sound, that error just doesn't do much for me. I just don't like the production of that. But that's just kind of the way everybody suffered from that. I mean, it was cool, I guess, when we were hearing it, but I don't know if that kind of production stands up nowadays. I wouldn't go back to the song. I wouldn't go back and listen to it again. 5 minutes and 45 seconds. I feel like there's a little extra at the end. They could have made it shorter. Mm-hmm. I put cheesy keyboard punches or a sign of that error that, in the verse and all that kind of stuff. All right, let's go on to Pet the Hot Kitty.
Wonder what that means.
I don't know. I'm just a young man. I don't know what that means.
Byron, what's that mean?
DC knows.
I can't say.
Oh, DC knows what it was.
Wait till
Back
we
in
get
the
to
old
DC.
days when DC was on the couch listening to the bread, and he was making the moves.
Oh, yeah.
You got lucky with bread. You had to get lucky with bread.
Oh,
you couldn't
DC's
miss.
the man.
And like I said, if I ever met David Gates, I'd give him a big old hug.
Oh, David Gates.
Wait a minute. It says
Thank you, David.
70 cheese. Petting the hot kitty means 70 cheese?
80.
Oh,
80
Ash. That doesn't mean that. Maybe in Australia.
Well, guess what? Bo Hill was a co-writer on this too. So it sounds like Bo Hill's trying to really insert himself into this record. Hey, he had done some great things. And I kind of said this kind of sounds like a Warrant song. Is that bad? Yeah, it is bad, isn't it? Say it sounds like Warrant. I don't know. That's what I was hearing.
I don't know. I like Uncle Tom's Cabin real well. That's pretty good.
Well, I'm not trying to be mean to Warrant, but
David gives me a thumbs up.
Okay. All right. I put this really not a fan of the song. A victim of the 87 to 90 sound. Sounds like a song that the producer tries to write. That's what I wrote.
Okay.
Is that a little harsh? Okay.
No.
Good.
No, you're being honest.
You gotta just be honest. This is what we like.
Well, look at this, and I'm rolling. So let's go to Evening Eye. Anton, he brought back Anton. He was like, all right, I need Anton for 2 songs. I guess, come on, Thommy Price is solid. And I actually like his feel on everything. Everything he's played on. The Warrior, he plays on The Warrior by Patty, Don't Call Me Smythe. And anyway, Evening Eye, I put corny lyrics. Sounds like they're trying to be sultry. Yeah, that late 80s hard rock.
DC tries to be sultry on every show.
Look at him. Yeah, he knows it. With a dementia cat. So I just said it. I'll repeat it again. Yeah, it's just too mid-rangey and trebly for my old ears, my 55-year-old ears. Brittle is what I wrote, but it's a pretty cool, funky guitar line. I can't be harsh on every song here. It was pretty good. Let's keep rolling. A Woman of 1,000 Years. I just kept thinking of the Kiss song. I don't know why. I hear. I'm always I hear a song and I'm like, oh, that sounds like this song, or I hear this song. I drive my friends crazy with that. As you can imagine. I wrote, I'm hearing Power Station Bang a Gong. Yeah, Power Station Bang a Gong a little bit, chord progression. I go back and listen to it. That's what my ears heard. It could be wrong. I put this could be a Slaughter song or many other songs from 1989. Yeah, it was all right. Run Across the Desert Sands. That was on my iTunes. This is the best song on the album. There's no vocals. It's the best song on the album. Nothing against Perry McCarty, but I've loved this. That Spanish acoustic intro. He's showing off. He's showing his talents. Yeah, like I said, I had on my iPod like a long time ago. It has a Middle Eastern vibe with the tabla. Is it tablas? Like
tabla.
Yeah, tabla, like, Bonham on Black Mountain Side and all that stuff. Congas, maybe you're in there. Very flowing, soaring vibe. I love it. I love it. It's a great song to drive around to. So thumbs up on that one.
All right.
Last one, Slipping into Fiction. I wrote okay at best. Did they need this extra song? There's already 10. Did we need 11? I don't know. I guess they thought they did. I said they could have ended the song on 10 at 10 and it would have been just great. It's not a bad song. It's not a good song. I'll never listen to it again. I'm going to tell you that. So that's the whole album. I know there was a re-release with some extra songs. Couple interesting facts that I'll beat Davey to.
Webb.
Whoa.
Webb.
Don't steal Davey's thunder.
He's got 100 facts in his pocket right now.
It's because he knows what he's doing.
Yeah. Well, okay. So the title track was used by an Australian television network, the Nine Network, for closing credits, Formula One coverage, all through the night in the early 90s. So that's a pretty cool fact. It sounds like it would fit on that. The first song kind of sounds like it does have a soundtrack. The title song, it has an anthemic. Yeah. And can I rate it? Because I'm done.
I'm ready. Give me it. Out of 10, what do you got?
Well, I wrote I like
Gary Joyce says you're going to give it a 6.5, but I don't think you're going that
high. Gary and I are in sync. That's what I wrote down first, Gary, honestly. And then I lowered it because I like songs 1, 3, 5, and 10. They're solid. I felt like he could have made an instrumental record like Joe Satriani's first 2 records, and it would have been just as good. I don't know if anybody disagrees with that or not. I could have been better going by the Run Across the Desert Sands. All right, I'm being harsh. I'm gonna give it a 5.5. But can I say
Webb is like that brash rookie that comes to training camp. He's getting all the veterans all riled up. What?
Okay,
I don't have a 5.5. That's fine.
I feel bad for Steve. I'll give it a 6.
Look at that. Huck says, "Good job, Webb. You nailed it."
See,
all right, that's cool.
The people have spoken.
Yeah.
Ash goes, 5. What the fuck?
Well, Ash, I'm sorry.
Ash, you're going to be real disappointed in mine.
Look who's here, ladies and
gentlemen.
Look who's here.
Marlon knows exactly
good
what
guitar
he said.
work, but sporadic. Can't even save this album.
My, oh
All
my,
right,
are you
Marlon,
going to be
tight.
disappointed in me?
Is it different? Is it any different? Can you differentiate this song? I mean, this album from any other kind of late 80s?
It's kind of faceless.
Thank you. Okay, I'm out.
All right, excellent. Thank you, Webb, for that stunning review. I'm gonna Stevie Stevens will be watching this. Well, I'm gonna talk about that in a minute. So anyway, let's throw it over to BM Bolton and see what he's gonna. I don't know what his thoughts are. He likes shredding, so
He's very pensive. Very pensive.
Byron, and he bought this when it came out.
Well, not right away, but I know I owned it back in '90 for sure. So I've had it a long time. Yeah, I was big on the Rebel Yell album, and I really like Steve's playing. So I saw this. I don't know. I think I found it used back in the day, and I grabbed it because I was like, yeah, I'll check it out.
Yeah.
I don't love it, but we'll talk about how much I like it as we go through this.
Okay.
I don't mind the singer. I think he's got a pretty decent voice. I think when he sings in his lower register, though, he does kind of sound a little like Billy Idol, and Webb kind of talked a little bit about that. Musically, at times I hear a little bit of the David Lee Roth band from the the first the Edom and Smile era. That it's kind of that sound to it.
I hear that too.
At the same time, I feel like they're getting real close to that hair metal line. They're almost dipping their toe in it, which I don't really care for that at all. But so let me go over some of the tracks here. Atomic Playboys is the first track. It kind of feels like it could have been on Rebel Yell. Great solo in it. I like the vocals. Like I said, though, the verses on this really, at least the first verse, he sounds quite a bit like Billy Idol. I like that track quite a bit. All right. Power of Suggestion. I actually kind of like this one.
See, I knew it. I knew it.
But yeah, you kind of described it. Yeah, it's got that feel like maybe it came from a movie or something. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of horns to it. It's got almost like, I think there's like a synth bass in there. Some female backing vocals, this real clean guitar tone in the solo, kind of bluesy. I thought it reminded me of something that could have maybe been on like Bowie's Let's Dance. It's kind of got that feel to it. Yeah. So Action, but
not quite as good as Let's Dance.
No, not quite as good. But it had that feel almost because it was kind of danceable, funky, and the guitar. I thought the guitar tone reminded me of Stevie Ray Vaughan on like some of when he's playing the clean tones on that album and some of his solos.
Right, like Jeff Healey maybe, like Jeff Healey. I don't know. I was.
I know what you're talking about, Byron. Yeah. I understand. I know what you're saying.
I think China Girl and Let's Dance. He's got a real clean tone. But anyway, all right. So Action, the Sweet cover. I don't think it strays too far from the Sweet version. Nothing wrong with that because it's really good.
It is, but let me ask you this: because Webb dug it, you dug it, but does it add something to the Sweet version? Because if you're going to cover Sweet, damn it, you better bring it, because what could be better than the Sweet version of anything?
They do the extended jam.
Yeah, my note here is it's a little more modern sounding, and it's longer, partly due to the extended soloing. The guitar soloing is way better than the Sweet version.
Ooh,
that's my opinion.
Am I going to disappoint some folks when you get my take on this? But I agree with you, Byron.
But especially in the end, they just kind of stretch it out with some more cool soloing. So to me, it's a very similar to the Sweet version, except for the guitar soloing. Okay. All right. Desperate Heart. Yeah, to me, that's like a hair metal power ballad. I didn't care for it at all. Soul on Ice. I didn't write a lot about that, but it's a real fast rock. I kind of liked it. So I'll give that one a thumbs up. Okay. Crackdown. This, like Webb says, this sounds a lot like something off of Rebel Yell. Quite a bit, but hey, that's good in my opinion. I like the guitar work on it. I kind of like the long outro with just the kind of the mellow keyboard chords and the guitar playing, kind of ad-libbing to that. Pet the Hot Kitty, hair metal.
Why does that make me laugh every time I hear that? Pet the Hot Kitty.
Didn't care for that one. It's too hair metal for me.
Because we've all done it. I'm sorry.
Evening Eye. I kind of like Evening Eye. I felt that the Evening Eye was, it's got that bluesy, like sultry late night jazz club feel. I thought it was pretty good. I didn't care for Woman of 1,000 Years. You know, Steve sing. There's a lot of gang vocals in it.
Oh,
I don't really go for that. Run Across Desert Sands. Okay. Like you said, best track on here. It's an instrumental. You know, when I'm listening to that, I'm thinking of this album because there's a lot of that kind of stuff.
Let me make that bigger so you can share with the.
Yeah, what is that?
That's Terry Bozzio.
Look at him showing off his autographs.
He's like Martin Popoff. Look at him.
Yeah.
Look at him with
a signature.
Ooh, I hate when they do that.
Yep. Got the Tony Levin signature on. This is a great album. Even I don't have the second one, but I mean I have the files for this. Second one's really good too. These are great albums.
Sydney likes it.
It's all improvisation though, for the most part, but great stuff. So
this is Sydney's favorite album from 1989. I think that pretty much sums things up on Sydney's end.
Hey, I'm not done here, so you know you may get a pretty good score out of this. But yeah, love that Run Across Desert Sands. It's got a lot of that flamenco playing, which Steve is so good at. Speaking of flamenco playing,
that is pretty good though. When he's doing flamenco,
it's a good album. I'm done going on tangents though.
No Blue Murder.
So then slipping into fiction, I thought that was a pretty good rocker, but you know what? I didn't think it really was a great ender for the album. Yeah. Like Kenny said, maybe they didn't need to put it on here, but maybe they should have just moved it up and rearranged the songs a little bit. Maybe Crackdown would have been a great ender. I don't know. There was a bonus track that I found listed called Warm Female. I don't think it was the Japanese bonus. Maybe it's on some of the reissues. I didn't really care for it. There's a lot of slide guitar on there. Kind of remind me a little bit of Let the Music Do the Talking with the slide playing. Had that feel to it, but I didn't really care for it.
That's an interesting, yeah. So,
I get that. I'm gonna go. I'm not gonna include the bonus track in my ranking.
No.
I'm gonna go with a 7.5.
Ooh.
Inspiring. I like to think 8 of the 11 tracks, really. So yeah, 7.5.
7.5. Well, it's looking better. Now wait a minute, Sydney. I've got something to quote from Stevie Stevens here. So when we get to me, you need to hear this because this comes from the man himself. All right. Fighting for Earth. That Atomic Playboys video I've seen more than any other music video. Again, Sydney, that's not saying very much, but I appreciate it. All right. So we've got a 5.5 and a 7.5. Let's throw it over to DC Tune Time and get his thoughts on this.
Hello, gentlemen, and viewing and listening audience. Now, I will say with these one and done albums that we've done, unlike some of the ones we've done previously, and I'm going to mention HSAS in particular, that Hagar Schoen album.
Yeah.
This album feels to me like they put some real thought and care into it. All of these albums are competently played. These guys are all professional. But to me, the songs on this album, it just seems like they made an attempt to add some variety, to put some little added flourishes there that aren't on some of these other one and done type albums. I also like the fact that they also call themselves, along with Atomic Playboys, Radiation Romeos. How about that?
That's sexy.
It's sexy.
It's sexy, everyone.
Right, let's get to the tunes.
All right.
The first tune, Atomic Playboys. Great title track. Way to kick off the album. Nice riffage and vocals. We get a little bit of acoustic picking here. So that's a great thematic, anthemic start to the album. I'm with Byron here. I love Power of Suggestion. And I know Marlon would hate this because it's got horns. But already we have a little change of pace. You got background female vocals. This thing grooves. I wasn't expecting a track like this on this album. I think the lead vocals are fine. And I don't know. The variety here is kind of like really surprised me because I was expecting just kind of a drone of kind of a similar type vibe, which a lot of these one and done albums are. Now we come to the sweet cover action, and I'll say something here that'll probably, if I was live, people would be throwing rotten fruit at me. I like this version better than the sweets. I do, dare I say.
All right, let's just move along to Cretan. Cretan, can we just keep it moving? Because someone on this panel is absolutely delusional.
Good thing he wasn't on the Sweet Show a few days ago.
Yeah, I would have thrown him
I knew
off
you
there.
were gonna do
God,
that.
how can I got to bring him back. Oh, that threw out. Where'd he go?
I'm back
Has anybody ever been cut? Have you ever cut anybody like that?
Oh,
for
yeah.
little periods of time. But
Yeah, 'cause
I
love
like
to
this.
do it.
There's
badge
less
of honor.
there's less falsetto on the background vocals, and I don't know. I like it better.
It's good.
Sweet. I mentioned this before. Growing up in Youngstown, Sweet were huge in Youngstown, and I didn't even think anything about that until I got out and started living in other places, and realizing that was just kind of odd that I just started going to bars. Every bars, the jukeboxes were blasting out Ballroom Blitz, Action, and Fox on the Run ad nauseum. But I do like this version better. So
Ken
there,
wants
I-
to
I
know,
said it.
DC, if you feel okay.
Oh, I feel great.
Okay. Because I think there might. Are you sure?
I'm hearing a lot of things differently. So maybe something
All
has
right.
happened to me.
That's what
Maybe
makes it-
something's transpired.
It's all about sharing in the warehouse, unless you say something I don't like. Then
All right. Well, let's move on here to Desperate Heart. Like I said, they mix things up here. This is a power ballad, and I'm not a big time power ballad guy, but this is
you are.
okay.
You're the romantic.
I like my just pure balladry is more in my wheelhouse for mood setters. Okay, let's move on to 5. Soul on Ice. I wrote Van Halen like. It's a great riff.
Yes.
And I do like the added background vocals, and this is one of my favorite tunes on the album.
Van Halen.
Yee. And as I think Webb and Byron have already mentioned about the next track, Crackdown, this is the most Billy Idol styled track on this album. It's a driving rocker. It's a good tune. Nice intro lead guitar as well. Time for a Q-tip or two.
But don't push it in too hard. Doctors
No.
recommend that you don't use a Q-tip.
You really shouldn't be cleaning your ears with Q-tips to begin with, folks.
Stay on the edge.
So you got to
Just
be
the
careful.
edge.
Don't push that earwax in.
Not in the hearing area. Go around all those multiple like wacky ass curves in there.
Young
You're all
Logan
right.
knows his mother taught him correctly.
That's right.
His mother told him
All
not to
right.
use Q-tips. All right.
Now, track 7. The aforementioned Pet the Hot Kitty. Now, Grant, did I
Yes.
hear
Do we have any insight into
Whoa,
that?
whoa, whoa. Did I hear you right that Dawkins did a cover of this on that 80s cruise and Don dedicated it to Downtown Julie Brown?
I
that
don't
the-
think that's true.
No, that was just a rumor then. Okay.
I was there, and Don didn't bring up anything about kitties or downtown Julie.
Whoa. And as you can imagine with a title like that, this has a Stassi groove. It's lusty, and lust makes the world go around, does it not?
Exactly. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. I hate to interrupt again, but Logan Collins, push in the bush with the hot kitty.
Well,
For the
you know
win.
what? You know
For
what?
the win, DC.
Well, wait a minute. The next
Go ahead.
line in my notes here said, "This is the rock equivalent to push in the bush."
You and Logan.
There
See
you
that?
go.
You and
It's
Logan are in
equivalent
sync.
to push in the bush. See, we
Logan.
not only share the last name, we've got a similar
Dang, Logan.
thing going on there.
Like your handwriting, DC.
Well, that's I tell you what, Webb, for my profession, when I go to write cursive, it's a problem. I'm just always cartoony printing, so it just comes really natural to me.
Byron.
It looks like set
That
list.
was
It
one of
looks
the
like
lyrics.
set list writing.
That's
Great
me, old
line.
set list Collins. Well, we got a lot of Pet the Hot Kitty. It's about Steve Stevens' cat dying, and the last time he got to pet her.
Is
Very
that
deep,
true?
meaningful song. I don't believe that.
I
That's
don't
Not that
Sydney
think
being
that's
Sydney.
right. I
salacious
think Sydney's on
content.
track.
That's Sydney being Sydney.
Yeah. Well, you know,
That is
sometimes I
That
think
is not true, folks.
sometimes when Sydney comes across, I think he might be serious, and that could be
You gotta-
something. I don't know.
I'm thinking with the lyrics, it is not about his dying cat.
Okay.
All right, moving on to 8. And again, what do we have here but a bit of jazz? We have a little bit of keys. They may be cheesy, but they're adding accents here. They're mixing things up. This is variety, and this is what we seldom see on these hard rock metal one and done releases, at least how I remember a lot of them. The song switches midstream from a slight jazz groove to a ballsy hard rock, and then back to jazz, featuring a bit of jazz lead guitar to round things out. Last 3, I mean, Woman of 1,000 Years, it's a toe tapper, solid tune, no great shakes. The instrumental, Run Across Desert Sands. Wow, what great, nice picking, and we have a nice percussive element going on there as we move along. This is another one of my favorite songs on the album. And while Slipping Into Fiction isn't one of my favorites on the album, it's all right. And we finish up with Back to the Hard Rock. It's got a nice melodic chorus here. It's an okay closer.
Yeah.
So if I were to rate this album,
Yes, sir.
I would go, and I've only listened to this thing 3 times. I would go
3 should do it.
well.
That's about how you-
I kind of like it. I'm going to give it an 8.5.
Whoa.
Okay.
Part of it is
Right.
because it surprised me. Now,
Okay,
somebody says,
that's
"Yeah, there's some
fine.
variety on this thing, and a little bit of this and that, maybe an 8," but I'll go 8.5.
Excellent.
I'm in
We're
a good
trying to
mood
be.
tonight.
We just want to be honest. How we listen, how we hear.
As I sit right now, I say 8.5.
8.5.
Thank you, Sydney.
Excellent. All right. Super. All right. We're gonna throw it over to Mr. Cretan. Davey, nice to see you. Thanks for coming. I think you're muted. I can't hear
Davey.
you. No wonder he's been so quiet.
This is the definitive
I
number
know.
right here.
I thought he was just being very
Wait a
courteous.
minute. Let me see. I can't unmute you. You're muted. Now you're unmuted. You're still muted. Why don't you go back and come back in? And I'll read my quote from Stevie Stevens. So,
Davey's getting upset. There
What
he is.
about now? Can
Are you
hear
in?
me now?
yeah, you're in. You're in.
You're
You're
in.
a little low, though. Does he sound
Check
low to
1,
you guys?
1, 2.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, it's
You
a
sound
little
really
low.
low.
Not bad.
Okay.
Oh, that was
Just
better.
speak up.
Better. That was better.
1,
You have a
2,
deep-
1, 2, 3. Check 1.
You're
Okay,
low, but
before-
I can deal with it. All right.
He has a
Before-
DJ voice.
Okay. Before I talk about this album, I want to talk a little about Steve Stevens. And I'll try to project my voice like I used to do back in the day. Steve Stevens' guitar work with Billy Idol, excellent.
Mhm.
He makes a lot of those Billy Idol albums. Of course, it's the songs. It's Billy Idol's he's a great front man. He has the attitude. He had the look for MTV. But the guitar riffs of Steve Stevens made a lot of those records and songs. Now, when I saw Billy Idol, I saw Billy Idol live in 1989. Faith No More opened, but Steve Stevens was not with him. He had a different guitar player because Steve Stevens was doing this album at the time. So it came out in 89. It's a 50-minute album. So because it was the CD age, they started putting some extra songs on there. If you take off the last song, it's a 45, 46-minute record, which fits in more with the vinyl times from back in the day. Now, Steve Stevens, BM showed this before, Byron showed it, that Bosio Levin Stevens album is great. It's all instrumental. The playing on there is phenomenal. And they made 2 records. They both came out on the Magna Carta label in I think 97 and 2001. The sequel came out. Those are definitely worth finding and listening to. If you want to hear Steve Stevens as a guitar player, that's where you should listen to him, on those records. And the flamenco guitar album, I forgot about that one. We used to play that when we did inventory, because at the store we couldn't play any CDs with vocals. So we just played instrumental music, and we used to play the flamenco album a lot. That's a really good record too. Now on this record, it came out right in the middle of hair metal, 1989. So to me, it uses a lot of the tropes from the 80s in hair metal. The first song, Atomic Playboys, is probably one of my favorites from the album. That's got great playing, and the way it comes in and it rocks. That's a great opening track. Power of Suggestion with the horns just doesn't fit, like he's trying to do Aerosmith with the horns on the Permanent Vacation album. And like Webb said, it was in a movie. It was in that Jim Carrey movie, Ace Ventura: Pet Detective. The Sweet cover, no, I do not like that. You can't better that Sweet song, because Sweet are so amazing. And everyone who didn't see it, Grant just did a show with Webb and another few cool cats on Sweet. You should check that out on Grant's Rock Warehouse. Great show. I commented on that. I watched that the other day. Then Desperate Heart is the ballad here. And it's just too many of the tropes. You got the rocker, you got the song with the horns, you got the cover song, the ballad. So many records did that in the late 80s, early 90s. And that's what killed hair metal, glam metal, whatever you want to call it. I don't mean to be derogatory, because I like some of that stuff. Just every record had the same sound, followed the same pattern. The bass presence isn't great on here. It's all high-end treble. So that's why Webb said the way it hits his ear because it's just of the time of 1989. On Crackdown, like you guys said, the singer sounds a lot like Billy Idol when he's in his lower register. So it reminded me of Billy Idol. Pet the Hot Kitty is just terrible. It's like that song on the Steve Vai Whitesnake album, Kittens Got Claws, which is a horrible song. And this song just follows suit. Pet the Hot Kitty is bad. The instrumental towards the end is great. Run Across Desert Sands, another highlight of the record. To me, this is a record you listen to hear the guitar playing, to hear Steve Stevens, his riffs, his solos. The singer, he just doesn't thrill me. Sounds like too many other guys. Sounds like Tom Kiefer a lot, because I was supposed to do a Cinderella show on Slogan's channel that I listened to Long Cold Winter recently. And this guy sounds a little like Tom Kiefer, just not as good. He's too forgettable. And just the songs, to me, are generic. I'm going to give this record a 6.
Okay.
Because they made a record. They recorded a record. It's on Warner Brothers. He had a lot of money. He used it well. It's produced well. It just sounds too much of the time. I don't think it's aged too well. But, hey, they put out a record. I didn't. So I can't give it a 1 or a 2. I'm giving it a 6. Based on the guitar playing by Steve Stevens, his solos, and his riffs. So a 6 from me.
Oh, excellent. Holy shit, Crete Noise brings it, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
Dementia Cat.
Dementia Cat making an appearance. Excellent. All right, I've got everybody's score so far. Now, I'm just going to say this. Maybe this is an album that needs to be remastered, because you guys have been talking a lot about the production, the trebliness to it.
Yeah.
It could be the mastering. Maybe it needs a decent mastering job. That might help it. Or do you think it was the production of 1989?
Well, I think it is. But do you have the Rock Candy remaster, Grant?
Well, okay. Rock Candy's questionable. Because if it's John Astley mastering it, then you're not getting... it's questionable. If it's the other gentleman that does it, who does a lot of stuff for Esoteric, then you're good. But I don't know who mastered the Rock Candy one. It's kind of hit and miss.
If I could just add one thing I just remembered. The CD was only in print for a few years. The CD went out of print.
Where's Connie at to see what you're doing?
Logan's making crude comments.
I can't believe Logan's doing that.
So the CD was out of print for a long time. And back in the day in the record stores, we used to sell this as a $20 or $25 CD when it got traded in secondhand because
Wow.
people were looking for it for a while. It was out of print for a long time. So it
What
was
you
an
got,
expensive CD, and it would sell at $20, $25 a clip.
Wow, those days are gone. DC, what did you give this again? Because Marlon
Oh
missed it.
well, I was hovering at 8, but I'm in a good mood, so 8.5.
Eight.
When
That's
I
right,
rate,
8.5.
if I like it, I tend to rate it high. If I hate something,
Don't
I'll just give it a
apologize.
0.
Don't
So there's
apologize.
a whole lot of middle ground. I either give you a push you up or I'll bury you. So
That is a me thing, Logan. Because production, when you're looking at these records, there's a lot of things that come into play, and production's one of them.
Mhm.
Because if it doesn't, if the whole package doesn't jive, then I think that has a lot to do with it. Ash bought it for $2 on vinyl. I've never seen it on vinyl.
Wow.
I'm sure it came out because they were pressing
did.
vinyl in '89.
It was on vinyl, yes.
My wife gives me an 8.5 when she's in a good mood. I think she probably rates you like a 1.2.
yeah,
Steve
attaboy.
plays a couple of. All right. So anyway, before I go on, I've got a. Why doesn't this pop over here? I don't know why. Well, we'll read it off this screen. MelodicRock.com did a Steve Stevens, a brief interview with him in 1997. And they asked Steve about this record. He said, "What about your Atomic Playboys album? It's fairly legendary." And Steve goes, "What? Legendarily bad?"
Oh,
And Melodic Rock goes, "Absolutely not." He said, "Really? That's surprising. I can't listen to it." And the other guy says, "You can't?" He said, "Yeah, it's probably my least favorite record I have ever recorded. I do like the instrumentation, but there are a number of reasons that I don't like the record. It was the first record I was involved with that was recorded digitally. That might be part of what you guys don't like about it. And I find that the overall sound of the record is really harsh." He is correct.
See,
Not
musicians, man.
pleasing. Secondly, he says, "I think the singer on the album is kind of awful.
Ooh.
I spent the better of he said, I spent the better of part of 2 years looking for a singer for that album." And the other guy laughs. He said, "Ha!" And he hasn't been seen since.
there will be no reunion tour.
He said, "No, it was really tough. Every singer that I approached may have been okay, but they had this specter of Billy Idol hanging over their heads. And they just got really nervous. Haha. Sometimes people just have to be themselves and not worry about what I have done before or whatever." So
Should have
Steve didn't like this record. He does have some points.
You should have had Chasm do the vocals.
Chasm would have been great.
Yeah. What the heck?
I kind of
That is-
agree
wow,
with
sorry.
Steve because the singer for me doesn't really connect. He's kind of faceless. I'm sure the guy's very nice, but I'm not dogging him. I'm kind of lining up with Mr. Stevens here. But he didn't like it. I think this record's kind of a mixed bag of things. I think it should have been. I think this would have been a much better instrumental. Let Steve just shine. Play. I got you, Webb. I see you. Webb. I agree with Webb. No, if it was instrumental, just let it rip. Yeah, I think it would have been much better.
I love his acoustic picking. Man, that is stellar.
Yeah,
Mwah.
it should be an instrumental record.
Mhm.
But, it does blend hard rock, glam, metal. It doesn't really know what lane it's in.
See, I like that. But I'm a little screwy.
That's the way DC likes his women. And so he really can't put him in a proper lane. I don't know. It kind of gives it a haphazard feel. It seems less like an album as a concept and just more like a collection of tracks to me. And I don't think the vocals are all that hot. Sweet, everybody mentioned Sweet's cover of Action. I don't think that should have been messed with because Sweet is sacred. And why mess with something like that unless you're going to really redo it and bring something? And I don't think that they do it. Look at this. Webb's Rock Warehouse.
No. Don't say that.
Don't say that because I can get rid of Webb just like this. So I got rid of Webb, so we're getting things cleaned up. Oh, how do I bring him back in? Oh, there he goes.
What have you done?
He's back.
You sent him into the vortex.
Logan, did you see what Logan did to me? Good Lord.
You see, Webb's
You
trying
think
so
you think
hard.
you
and I
got
just
friends
took
in
it
this
all away.
community, and it's like right in the back and
Oh,
turn.
Logan will stab you right in the heart.
This
Gotcha.
I like
Take all
what
your-
Pop Optic said about Stevens looking for 2 years for a vocalist. He said, where was he looking? Like, was he hanging out at the local Arby's or what the
Rumor
2
has it was a
years.
Wendy's.
2 years. He's that connected. Couldn't
That's what
find
he
any.
said.
Oh my God.
So anyway, they should have left Sweet alone. I appreciate it. Would they run out of tracks? I think they could have gotten rid of 4 tracks and made this album better. The H.R. Geiger cover, I think's horrible. It's not a good marketing move.
Not one of his better
It's a
works.
mixed bag. I appreciate Stevie Stevens and his guitar playing ability. The flamenco guitar, I think, is, come on. He's a great player. I'd like to hear more of it. It peaked at 119, and there's a reason why. What would I rate this record? I think if I was going to rate it, I'd probably give it a 5 out of 10. It's just right in the middle of the road. It's not good. It's not bad. It's not great. Would I ever return to it? No. One of the problems that I have is such a mixed bag that the songwriting is what I have a problem with. I don't have a problem with the guitar playing. None of these songs, when I listen to it, I don't retain them. It's like I could put this on and cook spaghetti and just have it as background noise. The melodies here don't bring me in. Yeah, it'd be great as an instrumental, but I just don't think the songs are here. And the production, drums are a little bit much to take, although they aren't gated. I will give them that. But it is kind of an abrasive production. I will say that. Logan says go lower. No, I don't think it's a great album. I don't think it's a bad album. I would give it a 5 out of 5. 5 out of 10. Not out of 5, ladies and gentlemen. That would be an error. So I think I've got every.
What was your rating?
Wow,
for that?
Grant is right for a change. Well, what?
I think it meant refreshing.
Yeah.
I think
Grant
Marlon probably meant tree freshing.
Grant, out of curiosity,
Yes,
do you
sir.
remember what you rated the Shone Hagar Extravaganza album?
I think I rated that higher than 5 out of 10.
Yeah, because this to me is much stronger than that album. What the hell's going on with me? No, I'm going to stand on what I think. Maybe
That's
not
fine.
an 8.5 in retrospect.
Well,
but
I've got everybody else's score, so let's tally it up and see where we stand, ladies and gentlemen. So we tally it all up, and we come up with a 6.39.
Yeah. Fitting.
you can live with that number.
I
That's
think that
not
sounds
awful.
about right. A little higher than I thought it worthy. But, it's one of those records that some people really dig it. And then there are other people that really don't dig it. So I think I'm happy with a 6.39. So a 6.4. Would I recommend it to somebody? If you're a completist, if you love Billy Idol to death, you got to have it, then get it. I don't know. Anybody else's thoughts before we wrap it up?
Check out the Basio Levin Stevens albums.
Yeah.
Show the covers, Byron.
Here, we'll throw it up there again. There you go.
Autograph.
What would you rate that, Byron?
You got to read Marlon's comment.
Oh, I'd have to listen to it again. I'm going to say anywhere from a 9 to a 10.
Dig a hole for it.
I'm
Marlon's
laughing
not a
at
big
him.
fan.
Dig a hole for it.
He wasn't very happy about it going in, and that track too with those horns. Oh, he just
Yeah.
Enjoy the night game. See some of you on Jamie. You will not see me on Jamie because I don't go that way. but you will not see me on him.
Oh, Gary Joyce chiming in
What?
with a
9.25.
9.25.
Did he leave?
He already. I thought he already gave it to me.
He gave you a 7.25 earlier.
So
What
you're
the-
changing it, Gary?
Gary can't switch like that,
You
can he?
can't switch that mid. You can't do it on mid. We'll throw Gary out.
He wants to make DC feel better for DC's 8.5.
Poor
I guess
DC.
so. Anyway, there you go. Atomic Playboys. We give this dog a 6.3.
3. Oh,
Well,
4.
we'll give it a 6.4. Wait a minute. If you are on Jamie, you're also depends on where she's. This conversation is just horrible. All right. No, on to the others. On the other hand, Steven's album. No,
He gave 9.25 to this one.
Oh, for that.
Oh.
Words matter, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Well, we went an hour. Let's wrap this dog up. I want to thank the panel for tonight. BM Bolt, Davey Cretin. We've got DC. We've got Webb. Webb back for twice in 1 week.
How lucky
Look
am
at
I?
him. Look at him.
I'm one of the luckiest.
He's a
men.
very promising up and comer, Grant.
He's an up and
I look for big things from
You ask him, and
from
he
him.
comes on.
Yeah.
That's what he
Hey,
does. So does Cretin. So anyway,
Yes.
you will see this panel back again. These guys are top notch. And if you have not subscribed to Davey Cretin's channel, please do. Davey, real quick, what's coming up on your channel, by the way? Anything in the
Yes,
in the
I
works?
just recorded a video with Peter Kerr from Australia. from
Never
Rock
heard of him.
Daydream Nation. That's going to
Cool.
debut on my channel in a day or two. I'm not going to say we did a top 12 tunes, but I won't say the band. It'll be a surprise.
They do the top 12 tunes of Klaus Nomi. All
It's
right.
an
Sweet
Australian
baby Jesus.
band, Aussie band. That's all I'll say.
All right, cool. Well, tune in for that. All right, gentlemen, we'll see you. Thanks, everybody. Everybody in the chat.
Thanks.
Thanks for contributing. It's always fun to hang out here in the warehouse. It's a community, ladies and gentlemen.
Mm-hmm. Thanks for letting me come on with you guys.
Hey, I appreciate you doing it. All right, everybody. We'll see you. Have a good week. It is Monday. Ugh.
Yeah.
Happy
It's a
St.
long week.
Patrick's Day.
Oh.
Yeah. We'll see you, everybody. All right. Good night.